Welcome back to I Did This Instead of Killing Myself, stand-up comedy podcast based in Greenville, South Carolina. My name's David Bakker. It's the week of December 5th, 2022. Hope you guys are having a great start to your Monday. Hope you're in a great mood. Been thinking a lot about mood lately and staying positive. Trying to start off the week on a right foot. So, and that kind of ties into my guest today. My guest today, David Dowdy. The reason I bring up mood with David Dowdy is he is a very calming person. Anytime I'm around David, I always find myself because he's just that kind of presence. He gives off that kind of energy. Very kind. He's a very good listener, and he's just a good dude. So a little bit about David. He started stand-up comedy in February of 2021. He's from Red Bank. So he's kind of based in Columbia. He's a single dad raising 2 children. He left the insurance industry a few years ago. He was formerly an insurance broker. Now he's owner, operator, power washing. His stand-up style he describes as observational satire. And he has a public speaking background by way of Alcoholics Anonymous. He's spoken to groups like that. And on a personal level, I always enjoy seeing David on stage. He's very funny, very engaging, very likable. You just kind of feel like you know the guy. In this interview, we started off talking about some fun stories in Red Bank, some, as he calls it, the meth triangle, some really hilarious things about things he's seen in Walmart parking lots. And then, because of his background facilitating conversations in AA, I really got a ton out of hearing his thoughts on relationships, parenting, romantic relationships, just interactions, and just different types of energy and mood can be positively or negatively impacted. And I got a ton out of it. In fact, before these interviews, I listen to it, and I was like really losing track of time because I was just listening to what David had to say again. So I think that means it's an engaging interview. So I hope you get a lot out of it. And then also at the end of the interview, if you could stick around for that, David shares some thoughts about Woody. He's a comic in Columbia that passed away recently. And I didn't know Woody that well, but he's a really great guy, and David knew him better than most. So if you can stick around for those thoughts, like Woody was a really special person, and I really appreciated David sharing that. So long interview, a little heavy, but at points, and funny at points too, but really enjoyed the time, and David's definitely worth following, checking out. So follow him at the links below, and check him out on stage in Columbia, or he comes up to Greenville too. All right. Before we get to the interview, though, here's what's going on this week in local comedy, the week of December 5th, 2022. So tonight, Coffee Underground, 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock show, 6:30 sign up. No Expectations Comedy, Travis Thubb and Craig Holcomb. On Tuesday, we have the Radio Room, 8 o'clock, hosted by probably Jeff Thompson. Show up, sign up. Also on Tuesday, we have the Art Bar in Columbia, hosted by Patrick Fowler, 8:30 show. Also on Tuesday, we have the Odd in Asheville, hosted by James Harrod, 9 o'clock show. On Wednesday, we have Tom Emmons, Swamp Rabbit Comedy, open mic at the VFW Post 9273 in Piedmont, 7 p.m., 6:30 sign up. Also, we have in Asheville, we have the Disclaimer open mic at the Asheville Music Hall, 8 o'clock show, Carrie Goff, point of contact. On Thursday, no Comedy Zone. There's a celebrity comic at the Comedy Zone, Heather Land, 7 o'clock show. Tickets available at greenvillecomedyzone.com. On Friday, we have All Jokes Aside at Habiba's, hosted by Dante Anderson, 9 o'clock show, Message Dante. And this weekend at the Comedy Zone, we have TK Kirkland. He's got one show on Friday, December 9th at 8 p.m. and 2 shows on Saturday, December 10th at 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Tickets available at greenvillecomedyzone.com. All right. That's it for local comedy. Hope you guys have a fantastic week. Hope you're in a good mood. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with David Dowdy. Here it is.
You're 15, 16, you have tattoos. You
look older.
You got family problems.
Yeah.
But if you're older, Where's the cutoff?
Where's the cutoff for tattoos?
I guess it's 18.
Yeah. The guy. What's up, people? Welcome to the
Welcome.
show. David Dowdy
I'm here.
from Burbank. That's right.
Burbank, yeah, Red Bank.
Red Bank. I'm an idiot. Red Bank. Yeah, we were
Yes.
just You're here at the apartment. You're so nice. You're asking all kinds of questions.
Well, I'm
and,
interested.
like, yeah.
I like to ask questions. We were talking about your football career. Illustrious.
By illustrious.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you asking. You were commenting on this picture that I don't even know if it's in view of the camera, but
Played football.
Yeah, a lot of white dudes. It's a Division II college in Michigan.
Division II?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Division II. Not that big a deal.
I see a lot of
But-
sports paraphernalia around.
Sports paraphernalia around
And comedy. Intermingled with comedy paraphernalia.
It's kind of man-childish decorations, you know.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You're so kind, David.
Thank you. It's good
Yeah.
to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
All the way up from Burbank/Red Bank.
Burbank/Red Bank.
Burbank sounds good too.
I'm very knowledgeable about our home state.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Burbank? Or Red Bank? Wait.
Red Bank is, it's right outside of Lexington.
Okay. So Columbia.
Yeah.
I consider that Columbia.
It's 15 minutes from downtown.
Okay.
You're in Red Bank.
Yeah.
And, but if you keep going, the farther out you go, the more dangerous things get.
Okay.
And it begins what is known as the meth triangle.
The meth.
Yeah. Just, I don't want to call out the names of the towns from,
Yeah,
but
we don't want to.
everybody knows who they are. You know who they are.
You know who you are, meth towns.
So, Red Bank is kind of like on the tip of that.
Okay.
It's the buffer between that and, Lexington.
Is Lexington nice?
It is.
So Lexington's known as the nice area.
It's
there's
real-
the buffer
yeah.
area where you are, and then there's the meth triangle.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, there's things just look different when you go out to that area.
Okay.
Even in Red Bank, it's not safe to just in case you're stopping by the area, don't go to the Walmart on a Saturday night. It's not safe. It's not safe.
You ever seen anybody cooking meth? Like, do they do it like the show Breaking Bad, where you'll see just a camper in a Walmart parking lot and be like, okay.
It's so funny you say that. I worked at for a little while, I worked at Verizon, and we had a retail location in the newly built Walmart in Red Bank.
Okay.
And one day, all these police cars just pull up, and they swarm around this like work van. I mean, it was like a Ford Econoline work van, like definitely had like a painter look to it.
A painter look?
Yeah, because
Okay. It was like a white van.
Yeah, it's a white van.
A white unmarked work
Contractor.
van. Contractor
Yeah.
type vibe. Okay.
Subcontractor.
Yeah.
And these police pull up and they all swarm it. And apparently he had a mobile lab in his vehicle, and the propane tank fumes had leaked, and some good Samaritan in the area had the wherewithal and the means to call police officers to intervene.
Yeah.
And they said we could have been blown up within they showed us the radius. They took us outside.
Dude, that's nuts.
To show us the below circumference where,
How big is the circumference around the van?
it was bigger than you think, because their hypotheses was it would spark the van to blow.
Okay.
And I couldn't deny that,
Right.
if the propane tank blows. But this guy is sleeping, literally cooking. You pull up to this newly developed Walmart. They have like shopping centers all around them. Mm-hmm. Well, this particular setup, the shopping center makes a L in front of the Walmart,
Okay.
up near the main road that takes you out to the meth triangle.
Okay. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So guess who's coming to run all their tricks and schemes on Walmart?
Right.
And their generous return policy that everyone knows they have.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So you can just run out of Walmart and steal stuff.
I've never done it, but I
I've
have
heard
seen
you can,
people.
though. Yeah, you see
He
those
came in with a
security
book
cameras.
bag and just he was pushing around. There's a reoccurring theme we'll point out here in a minute.
Yeah.
This fellow was wheeling around. This was a market Walmart that they had built in Red Bank, and everybody was real excited about that. You know,
A market Walmart? The one
Yeah.
with the grocery store in it?
the grocery store.
The
one.
grocery
Yeah.
store. Yeah, that's high-end Walmart.
Yeah, it was great for us.
Does it have a
you know.
Subway in it?
No,
No? Oh, dude, I like my Walmarts with a Subway.
but they did have dead animals. So we went to that one, and this guy had a buggy, and in the buggy where the baby goes, that part, he had this like book bag, and this thing was like a camping book bag stuffed.
Okay.
And this is the reoccurring theme. I normally am not aware of things that are going on. I'm just like, oh, that happened, and I miss everything because
Right.
there's no replay.
Right.
It's like ESPN's not out there in the parking lot of
Yeah.
Walmart to like
Yeah.
run this back for you. You
Right,
got one
right.
shot at seeing this, and you're not getting body cam footage.
Right.
You know. So this guy had stuffed his book bag full of medicine to cook the meth. And these poor
Like cold pills. And
yeah.
raided the pharmacy.
And he looks like he's taking a bunch of them too. He's like sweaty and really skinny, and he looks like he probably would have been down to go to January the 6th if
Right.
he had a ride.
Right.
And
if he'd had a ride.
yeah. So the poor Walmart associates are just following him, and they can't do anything. Like
Yeah.
if they tackle him and he breaks his leg, like he could literally own that market Walmart, and then what's going to happen to our groceries?
Because
then?
they'd sue him.
He'd sue him.
Sue him. Yeah.
He'd sue him. Yeah, you can't do anything. So all they got to sit there and wait for law enforcement to show up, and they're busy. You know, at the real Walmart, the big Walmart. You know, God knows what's going on over there at the same time.
Yeah.
They're doing multiple hits, you know, at once. You know, it could be mayhem.
So this is two separate stories, though. You saw the van one time with the blast radius. This was a separate time.
This
when
is
the-
separate
when
occasions,
the
yeah.
backpack was getting full of cold pills.
Yeah, I don't really have much more on the explosion. You know, the individual went to jail. The van was towed away. There was like a hazmat team came out. It was an event.
Dang.
You know, everybody got paid overtime that day. It was a thing.
Dude.
Now the other story with the guy with the cold medicine, he just ran out the front door and jumped into a waiting vehicle where there were three other associates. Yeah, I guess he drew the short end of the stick, you know, and had to go in.
You got to steal.
And he got away though. They parked at the very edge of the parking lot by the exit. Like they didn't care about this guy. I could tell if this guy had brought any heat anywhere near him, they were dipping, and he was just going to be there. It was good. He was just going to be left with them.
The sweaty guy. Maybe he was
Sweaty.
like
He
the guy
would
that
really
was
been sweating.
addicted to it and tweaking out. Maybe they all were, but
There's a lot of
dude, you want
tweakers
any
out there.
more of this? You got to steal it from us.
I remember I was riding down a road in Red Bank once. we're still talking about Red Bank.
Yes, we are.
And my son was in the back seat, and this car in front of us was an S10 model pickup truck.
Okay. How old's your son?
And
at this time?
he was around 4 at the time. He's
Okay.
6 now. And there were people in the back of the truck just riding in the back. And I grew up riding in the back of pickup trucks.
Yeah.
But he had never seen that. And the people in the back of the truck, like there was something wrong with them.
Wait, so you were pulling up behind him?
We were driving behind them down the road.
I got you.
Yeah, and they had like that Mississippi look to them. And my son said, "Dad, what's that?" and then that was
What is
asked,
that? The
"What's
people?
that?" You
Yeah.
know, and that was asked so often, you know, in Red Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I
That's,
like your hometown, man. I want to come visit it.
Yeah.
When I come down to Columbia, I just go straight to Art Bar and do comedy and leave.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
you
like
do?
to. I like
Yeah.
the Art Bar. You have
Yeah.
fun there?
I love the Art Bar. I absolutely do.
always a
I
good
didn't
crowd.
used to. I don't remember if I talked to you. I don't remember the exact time I actually talked to you. But I first started coming down probably 6 months after COVID. So a few months into comedy, I just was so excited and had only been doing mics up here. And I had horrible jokes that were very offensive for an Art Bar crowd.
Define offensive. What's that? What is that? What is offensive?
I said the reason there aren't more, I asked, why aren't there more women pilots? I said because they're not good at driving. That's the...
You went the Andrew Tate route.
I thought that was a joke. I went Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
And then I said something about how there should be more, though, because 9/11 would have gone differently if there was a woman piloting the plane.
If they would have just given you time to finish it.
Yeah. Well...
You're about to give mad props.
Yeah. I think I did an O.J. Simpson joke. I had stuff. I don't know. I just went so edgy, and that is totally not how I want to go anymore, really. I mean, I like edgy sometimes, but I didn't realize it's kind of, you're just shitting on the audience with offensive stuff that doesn't even know you in a way.
Well, there's a local O.J. Simpson social club right
Is there?
there. Yeah, so they really don't like O.J. jokes in there.
Oh, they're pro OJ down there?
Very.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Very.
I think OJ is very funny.
It's a social club.
Social club?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a social club where everybody goes there and talks about how awesome he is. Yeah. It's like a club.
What did they do there? Do they review his
They
latest
get
tweets?
drunk and then they go out looking for trouble.
Okay.
They come to comedy shows to make sure people aren't making
Yeah.
OJ jokes.
Dude, you know what? That night because I bombed harder than I've ever bombed before at, I don't know. I've bombed a lot, but this was a bad one at Art Bar. And maybe the OJ Club was in the audience.
I like bombing at Art Bar because they still clap for you. They still clap.
Yeah.
It's endearing.
Yeah. Yeah. I just didn't know what I was doing. And I really like them, though, now. And I understand more about... I think it's a fair audience. It could be tough. Mm-hmm. Like you said the other day, it was a tough crowd. But, yeah, dude, it's a really cool vibe.
You know what it
I
is?
just look around and see the art on the walls. They have robots and old school pinball machines. And if you haven't been to Art Bar, check it out. You can see this guy perform there. But yeah, what is it about Art Bar?
They're so daggum smart, the audience.
Yeah.
They have access to everything. So they see really funny stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's comparing to that. So you got to come with some heat there.
Yeah.
The Comedy Zone is like that.
Mm-hmm.
When I come to Comedy Zone, it's first it's very different.
Yeah.
It's a larger room. Mm-hmm. It's got a very different stage.
Yes.
One of the things I like about Art Bar is you're surrounded.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Surrounded by the audience.
It's real tight. The ceilings are low.
Yeah.
It's an intimate setting.
Yeah, and there's usually, if it's a lot of people, there's people lined up on that kind of ramp sort of up to the stage on the side there. Where people are waiting to go on.
Everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Just deep.
And
three
it's,
deep
and
right
it's
there.
separate from the bar. There's no distractions. Dedicated to the comedy show. And they do a great job, Topher and Patrick.
This one's different. You're standing out on a stage and you're just kind of out in the middle.
Yep. Talking about Comedy Zone now?
Yeah. About talking about Comedy Zone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm jumping around a lot, aren't I?
No, you're good.
Thanks for keeping it on track.
That's what I try.
Thank you.
No, you're fine. I'm just But yeah, the Comedy Zone stage too. It's higher up, so the people they're looking up at you, and I kind of feel like sometimes that can be a little bit maybe intimidating for the audience. You're not on the same level as them. I mean, obviously any stage you're going to be elevated a little bit, but I kind of like it when you're a little down lower and like you said, surrounded.
That's interesting.
Because, if it's a smaller audience at the Comedy Zone, which it often can be at an open mic, I kind of feel like the audience, if they feel too far away, it's kind of like they're watching an elevated stage performer, and they're like, okay, make me laugh, or like they're maybe watching it like they're watching it on TV or something, or like it's harder to like connect versus if you're like right in front of them. I don't know. Maybe I'm being nitpicky. It's definitely
There's something to it.
Yeah.
Elevation change.
The elevation and.
Well, think about a balcony when you go to a show and you're sitting up on a balcony.
Yeah.
Well, it feels different.
Yeah. It's like, well, this guy seems to be above it. Like, well, let's see what this guy's got, versus.
It's reversed with a balcony because they're up there and they're looking.
I was
looking down. Then.
Yeah.
Then it's different.
Yeah. But anyway,
I'm excited about tonight to get to go to Comedy Zone.
Dave's performing tonight at Comedy Zone.
As are you.
Yes.
I'm excited to see you at the Comedy Zone.
Yeah.
This is your territory.
Oh, please. No, this is Greenville's got growing, budding little scene. It's good. And I'm glad you got on the list. People who like sign up for Comedy Zone, like it's like a mad rush on Sunday night at 5:00. If you don't click that thing within like 30 seconds, you're not going to make it.
Vultures.
Yeah, dude. Friggin' vultures. It's getting bad. We've had like...
You got 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's getting bad at like other mics too, man. It's not bad. It's a good problem because we got a lot of comics. But even on Mondays, we have Radio Room, or no, not Radio Room, Coffee Underground. And this past Monday, they had like a list of like... I don't know. We have to cut it off at like 17 because the coffee shop closes at 9.
On a Monday?
On a Monday.
How many people show up? Is it capacity?
We had 25 this week.
That's good.
It was Halloween. Yeah. So we had to cut people. Like there wasn't enough room for everybody. So it kind of sucks, but we might have to start, getting some more mics or driving out of town a little bit more. But
where are all the comedians coming from in this area? Is it Spartanburg?
Well, there's just a lot of local people. Sometimes Asheville people come down.
How far are we from Asheville?
Hour and 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not bad. A little shorter than the Columbia Drive. We were up there last night, and I felt bad. I felt so bad because there was 14 Greenville comedians that went to freaking Asheville on the same night.
Did y'all rent a bus?
Dude, no, we didn't even plan it. There was a couple. There was like maybe a few that carpooled, but like I went by myself. Alexis went by herself. And yeah, man. So it's like,
How'd it go? Where did y'all go?
Asheville Music Hall.
Music hall?
Yeah. Asheville
what was that
Music
like?
Hall. Oh, dude, it's great. So they call it Asheville Music Hall. It's actually a bar, but they run really good shows there. And, there's no stage there. They kind of did it where it's on the floor, and it's like they got spotlight and everything, but there's chairs surrounding the speaker. And they take comedy real seriously in Asheville. So the people that run the show,
that's
cool. It's a really well-run show. There's great hosts, and then good comics, and it's a good show. And they kind of have it understood with like the bar staff to like make sure people stay quiet, and it's they want the show to be a good product, even though it is just an open mic. But Asheville's cool because they have tourists and things that like are just walking traffic. Similar to here.
Is it downtown Asheville?
Downtown, right downtown. So you get a lot of people, a lot of tourists coming in. And, it's a really good mic. So, yeah, we like Asheville. We hope they put up with us Greenville people. But
I like Asheville. But yeah. I've never done comedy there.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to have to tail along with y'all.
Yeah, dude.
For a trip.
Yeah, well, yeah, man.
Get to here and then we'll get to there.
Yeah. I was going to ask you something earlier when you started talking about the meth dudes. Have you ever stolen anything?
From where?
Anywhere. So, yeah.
Man. I got to think. Because I don't want to lie.
Okay.
Because when I was little,
I stole something just
I remember stealing a mint out of those 25-cent Lions things when I was
at the restaurant.
So I have to start at the beginning to answer this question.
Yeah.
I mean, I was little and I got outside of it was a pharmacy, a local family run pharmacy. And my mom she saw it. She knew where it came from and she got mad.
Yeah.
And we had to go back in there and I gave it back.
You had to apologize?
Had to apologize.
Dude, I remember the first thing I ever stole was a pencil eraser from like a stationery store. I was shopping with my mom, just errands or something, and like I forget It felt like it was like some kind of stationery store, like where they had office supplies or something. And I had this little. It's crazy. I remember this, but I had like this little eraser, and I think it was shaped like a hot air balloon. And we walked out of the store, and I showed my mom like, "Oh, I have this."
How old were you?
David. Oh gosh, I was probably like probably your son's age from that story. I was probably like 4 or 5, and she like freaked out. I don't know how bad your mom came down on you, but yeah, dude, she freaked out. I walked back in, and I had to apologize to the guy, and she put the fear of God into me. I was very much a goody.
It's hard to learn about property when you're young like that.
Yeah,
and you know, you think you can just take it.
Yeah.
But I remember what that meant. I was old enough to know.
Yeah.
The way it was a light. I didn't really get in too much trouble.
How'd you get it out of the thing? Isn't it in a machine?
It was just sitting there, and the money was what was protected in a little coin box, and you drop in a little coin, and then you get to take a mint.
Oh, okay.
But you know, they just as well. They were just mints.
Yeah.
I didn't even like mints. You know. That was the first thing. We used to steal cigarettes in high school.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, we were still. You had
Dude,
to.
how do you do that? You got to go behind the counter for that.
Well, it depends.
Okay. What was your system for stealing cigarettes?
We had a honky tonk, like right at the top of it was near where we lived,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a machine in there, one where you just put quarters in there, and then you pulled the lever, and they fell down the bottom.
Okay.
And that was a great source because nobody ever messed with you there. Mm-hmm. Then you walk right out the back door real quick. Now I'm sure.
So you just pulled the lever and it would come out. You didn't have to put money in it. How'd you rig the machine?
You didn't have to. Have you ever seen a cigarette machine? Okay.
Yeah, but I don't really.
There used to be these. There used to be these machines, and they were usually brown like wood. They looked like wood, and they were big, like as big as that keyboard, and tall. Okay. And each one had all the different brands like Newport and Camel and Marlboro, and there was like a little knob, and you would pull that knob all the way out, and it would eject a pack of cigarettes down. It would slide out the bottom like a prize.
Okay.
And that's
where'd you put the money in?
It had a quarter machine.
Okay.
And you put all quarters, and then eventually they came along and they had $1 where you could put dollars in and go a little faster. Mm-hmm. But they didn't last long because those machines don't really exist anymore.
Okay.
Because of,
But how did you get it without paying?
No, you had to pay.
I thought you said you stole them though.
Well, I was underage. I guess that's what I meant with that.
Okay, so you bought them, but you just got them.
Yeah, we were buying them.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a way to break the machine.
I you know what? I did take a pack of cigarettes once from. This is terrible. What an awful question!
I know, dude.
Asked
I want to
me.
hear. Yeah, I want to hear all the. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll tell you the worst of the worst right here.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, hit me with the worst.
My mom had a stepdad. And he smoked, and apparently at one point did Red Man chewing tobacco.
Nice, dude. I'm a dipper, former dipper.
The first thing I did was swipe a pack of that from underneath the seat of an Astro van.
Okay.
And that made me sick. I didn't at that time. I was young, man. I was probably 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
And
that's the worst of the worst.
I ended up taking a pack of cigarettes.
Okay.
Pack of Marlboro Reds. Good gosh. And have you ever got nicotine sickness where like you inhale too much on a cigar or have a dip into, and you got nicotine? You know what that feels like?
Yeah.
Isn't that the worst?
You get really lightheaded and like
yes,
and like sweat, and then you like feel nauseous.
Yeah,
for sure. The first dip I ever had was like that. I remember I was in college and I was studying for an exam, and all my football buddies dipped, and I never did because I was a goody. I had to ease into drinking and dipping in college as a freshman, and I I was studying for this exam, and Eric's like, dude, I was stressed. And he's like, dude, throw a dip, man. You could do it. So I threw a dip, and I was like in the bathroom reading the book, like, because I study in the bathroom sometimes.
Hey, it's a good place.
Yeah.
Good things happen in the bathroom.
Yeah. So whatever. And I remember at first thinking like, dude, I'm so focused. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is sweet. But it turned to freaking, sweats and like nausea pretty quick. Like in the Sandlot when all the guys stole the chewing tobacco.
Oh, yes.
Thank God I didn't end up throwing up. But yeah, man. So that's all you stole. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to steal beer in college.
Oh, yeah. So I worked at See, it's like it was so hard.
Yeah.
So when I worked when I was 15, I had a job, and I will not say where, but damn it, and
You're 15.
Yeah, there was beer there.
Okay.
And there were a lot of people involved, though. It was not just me. There was a ring.
Coordinated heist.
It was a ring.
Ocean's 11 heist.
Yeah, it was not
beer.
just me.
Yeah.
So I would be incriminating not just myself. I wouldn't want to incriminate these others as well.
There's got to be statute of limitations on that.
Yeah.
Is it 20 years ago?
I got a new joke.
You got a new joke?
Yeah.
Hit me. You want to talk? You want to talk?
Yeah.
Hit me with it, dude.
I just it hit me in the shower.
Okay.
Isn't that how
Yeah. I got ideas in the shower.
It came from something one of my kids said on the way to school. But it didn't come then. My kids said something on the way to school, and then long after that, like later on in that day, I'm taking a shower and it hits me.
Okay.
And it's here, you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I hang my kids' clothes up at Waffle House, so when they go to school, it smells like they've eaten.
I like that.
I know
like
it's a cheap shot.
Yeah.
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 Being a single dad's hard.
Yeah. Single dad.
Single dad,
You got single dad energy, man.
It's fun.
You're very calm. You're very put together. You're very kind.
David,
Is that made from years of stress with the kids?
At any time.
You gotta keep that even keel.
At any time, that phone could ring, and there could be a child on the way to the hospital with a broken arm from jumping off a table, and it could mean thousands of dollars. My life could change thousands of dollars at any given moment.
So you're really concerned about the money.
So
the hospital bill.
Every second I sit here in peace talking to you is a good moment.
Yeah.
We are safe right now.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah. Yeah, that hospital bill would suck.
Yeah.
Do you worry about the kids?
I used to worry about them a lot.
How old are they now?
They're 5 and 6.
5 and 6, boy and girl, right?
Yeah, it's about to turn 7. About to have a birthday. We're
So the boy
planning
is
a birthday. 7. Yeah, the boy's about to be. He's 6 now. He's about to be 7.
Okay. So
and
5
the girl's
7.
5. She's about to be 6. They got real close together.
Yeah.
We figured out what causes it.
What causes it?
Kids.
Yeah.
Sex.
Wait. No, you figure out what causes it. I'm sorry. I thought that causes the worry.
Oh, that. Yeah, dude. That's. It's so heavy. At some point, I don't know if you've ever had something in your life that was just so stressful, or like maybe it was someone that moved away or you lost, but the grief or whatever it is so heavy, you kind of have to set it down and leave it so that you're healthy enough to stay in the game.
Okay.
For you.
Yeah.
So that you can be the best you for other people as a circle.
Yeah.
So
wait, so you have to let go of worrying about them a little bit and set that down?
Yeah, you have to.
That constant.
You have to trust. Yeah. You have to trust that in the end, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you really believe that, then it'll help in not worrying as much.
Yeah.
But you never really stop all the way.
Yeah, for sure.
You're always worrying a little bit.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, that's a great attitude to have, I think, because I I just started therapy recently, and
Oh wow!
anybody who listens to this regularly is probably rolling their eyes right now because I've talked about it. But I feel like
This is great.
Yeah. Oh, it's great, dude. I'm doing great. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. You ever seen that Family Guy when Stewie says to Brian, like, you're doing good. Like,
I love it.
it's like a breakdown. No, I love my therapist. Good dude. Terry, shout out.
Shout out Terry. Thank you.
Shout out Terry. Thank you for helping me.
Useful human.
Thank you for helping me manage
What
my
kind of
anxiety.
counseling is it?
It's through BetterHelp. So it's like I tried to find like a therapist locally, but there were none available. There was waiting lists.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Mental health right now. Shout out to mental
Shout
health.
out to
in
mental health.
America.
BetterHelp. We're not sponsored. They're not giving us any money, but BetterHelp.
They're trying.
They're trying. It's great. You can do it virtual. Although I kind of wanted to do in person, but for what it was. And I kind of wanted, I grew up Christian evangelical and, still, am that, but I didn't really want like a Christian therapist per se. I kind of wanted like an objective, like just non-religious affiliate so I could feel comfortable sharing anything and everything. Sorry, Mom, if you're listening.
Is it an atheist? Do you have an atheist?
I wanted an atheist. I wanted somebody who hates God. I wanted somebody...
Big A on the door.
Yeah, I wanted somebody who's so anti-religion. I wanted Bill Hicks or... who's a strong atheist? Oh. Who's a prominent atheist? Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Doug Stanhope.
Shout
out Doug Stanhope.
Louis C.K. is an atheist. I would love to have Louis C.K. be my therapist, which he was in the latest movie he did. But anyway, what am I talking about? Oh, yeah, therapy. So big point that I'm noticing in therapy is they want you to talk about your upbringing and parenting styles and boundaries.
Oh, wow.
Boundary systems. And they help explain to you what a healthy boundary system is and what a non-healthy boundary system is. And I feel like parents that have a tendency to worry a lot about their kids, that can negatively affect the kids if they are so overprotected by an overbearing, worrying parent who's worrying for good reasons, but, they can, not, know how to act in the world because they never venture out beyond the wing of their mom or dad. So yeah, kudos to you for setting that down, and being chill about it. I think that's good for kids. Because he kind of said there's like extremes of the boundary systems. There's like the really overly strict one, maybe the overly protective, worried parent, and that can kind of negatively impact. And then there's the opposite, which is like the hippie parent, which anything is permitted, and there's no boundaries. And it's like that can really screw with you. Like you shouldn't be like, walking around naked with your like teenage daughter or something, or like just it's totally
unless it's your
laissez-faire.
stepdaughter.
Unless it's your stepdaughter, in which case break out the camera and
No, the
make some
energy
money.
definitely transfers down. If you've got a nervous negative energy,
Yeah.
your kids are going to have a nervous negative energy.
Yeah.
Or your dog. You
Your
know
dog,
what
dude,
drives
I heard
me?
about that with pets too, dude.
So people trip me out. I'll be at someone's house and they'll have a little dog.
Yeah.
And they'll say something like, "Oh, you'll have to excuse they're just a little nervous." Right? You ever heard him say it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that dog is not anything other than a dog.
Yeah.
It's nervous because it's around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're judging the shit out of the person when they say that?
Yeah.
Dude,
I'm like, the dog's nervous, huh? Oh, yeah, the dog. The dog would be just fine if he got to dog around all day. Didn't have to depend on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
So you're at counseling. Get back to that. So you're doing like family cycle.
No.
Counseling.
It's just therapy. It's
Just therapy.
Yeah.
There's a therapy and counseling.
I guess there's a difference. When I think of counseling, I think of like couples counseling,
like heavy
often.
duty.
That's the main thing I think of. Like that would be
sex counseling, sex addict,
like sex addict, or like
the
if you
dirty
can't,
stuff.
If you can't perform, like let's get your dick to work again.
Yeah.
it's psychological.
You start out in
Viagra's not
therapy.
helping.
If you call me and say, "Hey, I'm in counseling now," I'm gonna be like, "Oh shit."
Huh? Yeah, therapy
He's
didn't
in
take.
counseling
So we're gonna
now.
upgrade to counseling. We got like a committee of people gonna sit down with I don't know. I'm single, so I don't have anybody to bring to couples counseling. But dude, yeah, therapy's been great. Have you ever done therapy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a few times, both marriage when I was married,
Okay.
which I found really beneficial. But I'll tell you, if you're like married for 2 years and you're in counseling for 4, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're just in counseling a lot. So, but I learned a lot.
Yeah.
As a result.
What did you learn primarily from the marriage counseling?
To listen and not try to like fix.
Okay. Yeah.
I learned that great secret.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't mean I don't forget it from time to time.
Yeah.
In my
a common
everyday.
one. Guys want to fix.
We do.
Women want to be heard, but they don't need a fix always.
Now I've noticed it in my comrades in arms, my other dude friends.
Yeah.
They'll like, so what's going on? And if you say something, they'll start like trying to like, no man, I'm just cool with that being on fire and broken for right now.
Yeah. So
we don't need to fix
sometimes
that.
You'll be the woman in this conversation with your boys, and you just want to get this out. And they're like, well, why don't you just do this?
Maybe it's a good training session. But the coolest counseling I was in, and it was counseling, was with this. When I first met him, it was a younger guy, and shout out Caleb. I feel like I just learned about the shout out button, so I keep pressing.
Shout it out. Who's Caleb? Do I know Caleb?
He's a counselor in Lexington.
Okay.
Wonderful job. But when I first walked in and I saw him, I thought, what's this nerd gonna do for me? What's he gonna do for me? And he was younger, didn't look like he was into anything that I was into, didn't look like me, and I thought that, but I sat down and I wanted to give it a chance.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I started talking. 9 months later, I went every week. Once. You start like twice a week, depending on what's going on. Then it was once a week, but it's like an hour and a half, and you not one question ever got answered. It would always get put back on me. I would have to answer my own questions.
Okay.
And
it's a little frustrating.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But it helped me to stop being so self-critical.
Yeah.
Because when I'm self-critical, I cannot help but be critical of others.
Yeah.
It's going to transfer.
Yeah.
Because it's what I am. Mm-hmm. I learned that from that one.
Yeah, dude, that's a huge one. That's a big one that my guy's working with me on. I think maybe a little indirectly, but like self-esteem, self-worth. A lot of people have low self-esteem, or and then that'll result in certain behaviors. You can be overly, if you're too self-critical, you may be afraid to say what you really think. You may be more people-pleasy, and not being your authentic true self, because you're afraid if you do show who you really are, people will reject it. So instead you kind of suppress your like light, like what
your needs,
what you really want to show, or your needs too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your needs. And then you kind of make your own identity into what you think others will approve of. And then you're just not even yourself anymore. After years of doing that, then you're just like, you're somebody else's idea of your own life. And it's impossible to please everyone. So, and people don't even really end up liking you anyway, because you're not your true self. Like, the wrong kind of people will be in your life. Well,
it's interesting. Let's examine that. It's just like that saying where I heard once, 70% of salespeople don't ask for the close. And I'm like, well, are 70% of salespeople idiots? Yeah. Or is something happening in the sales process that doesn't allow you to get to a place where you can ask for the sale?
Right.
And so back to that.
Yeah. So
it's very similar. Go ahead.
Sales is sales. So what? Actually, I don't even know what your day job is. I forget.
Power washing.
Power washing.
Shout out power washing.
Shout out power washing. Is there a sales element to that you
Yes.
participate in?
So as an owner operator, I'm basically hunting. I kill it.
Yeah.
I drag it in.
Yeah.
You know, I make sure everything stays kosher. But it's something I've been doing in the on the side for most of my adult life.
Okay.
And
so you manage customer relationships. You're in a position where you need to ask closing questions. Are you in the 70% that maybe doesn't ask all the time, or are you in the 30 that is pretty direct? And
yeah, you know, I heard that when I was in car sales for a little bit. When I heard that, and what I experienced when I didn't ask for that person to take the car home with them was I didn't get to a place where I was in a place where I could say that to you in the conversation
and have it not be weird,
and not they'd be like, "What do you mean? Am I going to take it home today? Like you don't even have the model I want and the color. Like, did you just forget everything we just said?"
Absolutely.
So some of it's that.
Yeah.
And you start diving in and looking through and sifting through it, and what you experience is, well, there are actually people who are trying their best.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to counseling, self-esteem, doing what we're doing, trying to do comedy. Like, we kind of have to, you don't want to be too arrogant to like, oh, I know I'm going to be, because to think, you kind of got to have a little dream about you.
Yeah.
And believe the dream to be able to do it.
I agree. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
At least that's my, or else I'm taking up space where somebody else really believes the dream.
Right.
You know?
Right. So you don't want to be overly confident when it comes to comedy, but you don't want to be passive either and not believe in what you're doing. And, taking up, stage time that could go to somebody who's really serious. But yeah, it's a really fine line.
It
like
is.
in comedy, to me, like all this stuff. So sales, number one, like let's go back to the closing question. Like when I first started sales, I had a hard time asking closing questions because I thought, and it wasn't necessarily the high pressure situation where I'm asking when it's not appropriate. There's times where it definitely would have been appropriate. Like, especially my first year. I remember my first year, I was so nervous. I didn't want to offend anyone, and I wanted to just support and help them buy stuff versus, like, selling. But, you steer that quota down, and I was so pressured by the quota. Eventually, I had to ask, and it came out clumsily, and I wasn't good at it because I was afraid. I was like, I think that came from low self-esteem probably. Like, and just, understanding that they're expecting you to ask for business. And, if you service them and did your job and you know what their needs are, there's nothing wrong with asking for the close. It's not a dirty thing to, say. And it's something that, and it's business. They'll expect it. And learning that helped me, develop as a salesperson. And then comedy to me is a whole other level. Like, you gotta sell them on your jokes, commit to your jokes, believe in your jokes. You gotta be authentic as best as you can. You want to be likable and accessible and connect with them on a real level. And you got to not be afraid to be yourself too. So it's like all that stuff mixed in, and then you also got to be brave to just get up there. But to me, comedy like helped open that up even more in terms of the self-esteem, just because by necessity, like you'll do something accidentally on stage that'll work. And you're like, what did I even do there? Oh yeah, I was just saying something I really thought in the moment and I wasn't afraid. And wow, they laughed at that. Oh my gosh, isn't that something? So anyway, yeah, I've often compared sales and stand-up to people that get sales just because it's like there's a relationship dynamic, there's a closing dynamic in terms of your jokes and like
you have to build value quickly.
Building value.
If you walk up there and the difference in smiling or not.
Yeah.
And or if you attack audience members right away.
Yeah.
That or attack someone, like start off with a joke like this idiot I work with. Everybody's like, whoa. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Well, you're starting shitting on people right
Yeah.
away. Yeah, they can sense energy too, like negative or positive energy. Like the
People don't want that.
Yeah.
They don't mind it, but so let me ask you this. Do you look at some jokes and you're like, man, that's going to be hard. I don't know if I want to do that one.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you got to get all the way. It's a lot talking about setting it up and doing it right.
Do you mean hard in the sense of I don't know how I can sell this to an audience without coming across as an asshole?
Yeah, some of them are. It's big sales.
That's what I just thought of when you said, yeah.
It's like I got a lot of talking to do. If I'm
gonna this audience, I'm laughing at this shit. Yeah,
like that.
For sure, man. For sure. Although I kind of get excited when I have some ideas like that, where I'm like, man, if I could sell them on that idea, holy shit.
Like I know I've got.
If I could thread that needle, like,
you know, I've got a joke I'm working on that it's about gay or not being gay.
Yeah.
What is and what isn't. And, you know, I talk about if you lose a bet and the wager is that you have to be that person's sex slave for a night.
Yeah.
You know, and they tell you that you've got to, you know, do this, whatever it is, it's not gay because you lost the bet.
Right.
You know, so there are rare circumstances where things can happen and it's not now. Now I didn't lose any bets.
Yeah.
But I've heard of it happening in certain like magazines.
Yeah, not in Red Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like that joke is hard to get to.
Yeah.
You know, it's and
yeah.
When I first did it at the art bar, you could hear a pin drop the whole time.
Yeah.
Until I got to the end and I said something that was acknowledging the stupidity of the joke, and then that was funny.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like we were talking about. It's like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I have one that is about killing someone with a penis. Like, I think I've told that one. It's not really fully done yet.
If you tell that one in India, then, you know, it's because it's happened a lot there.
It has? What has happened in India? Help me. This is joke research.
Like there's like a if you're a single woman, you can't get on a bus alone late at night because you might get like gang raped.
Okay.
And you know some.
But
some,
do they die from the penis
some
itself?
Of them, yeah. Some of them, maybe from the penises themselves. So, that's terrible. The blunt impact.
Yeah.
Over and over.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Mine is kind of like.
Is it about like that?
Well, it was from a conversation where a girl said she was a Virgo, and she said Virgos are serial killers. And I was like, oh, and then she says, I'm a Virgo. And I was like, are you going to kill me? And she said, no, silly, I don't have a penis. And just the way she said it got me thinking, could you actually do it just as an object? And there's a lot of ideas around that comics have told me. And then I described some of them. But
you think she was serious?
No, of course not. Of course not. Oh, that she didn't have a penis?
No.
I hope. No, I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered, I guess. I didn't expect. Just like, thanks for telling me. But no, the whole thing is like just stupid thoughts of like, oh, I missed that episode of SVU. Like, that's not a weapon, you know? It's not a useful weapon.
I think a lot of times when...
That's a hard one.
Comedians say, well, you know, what do you do? What do you do for jokes? I'll always say, well, do you have a glory hole joke? And if they say no, which is usually the case, I'll say, well, you know, start with a good glory hole joke. You know, those are just funny in themselves.
Yeah.
You know, just think about it. If you were at work today, like let's say you worked in this big office, and it was around lunchtime. Everybody's working at their computers, and you just walked in and you said, "Hey, everybody, glory hole time," and everybody was like, "What?" And you just started laughing. That would be really funny.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I guess it would be. Man, dude.
or you'd get a visit from HR.
Yeah, that you might. Are glory holes a Southern thing? I think they exist in the Midwest. I'm trying to remember when I started hearing about them. I hear about them, you know.
Oh my goodness, I feel like they definitely originated from like a construction site, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, I think they were from construction sites at one point. The origination of glory holes though is something that now is on my mind. Where did they?
I don't know. I wish we had a producer to Google it. That would help us.
What's that? Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie.
Jamie.
Pull that up, Jamie.
Pull up.
If you're still watching this episode,
pull it up.
Google it and comment the origin of glory holes.
Might be like Sweden.
Sweden?
Sounds very Swedish.
I don't know if this...
You know, they'd be responsible for that.
Crass for the Swedes. Although, are they freaks in the bedroom? I feel like they might be.
Well, I don't want to be coarse. But
don't want to be coarse. But,
well, I don't want to be coarse.
Maybe they're maybe the Netherlands. Dan Danner's pretty Dutch. I could see him being involved with a glory hole situation.
He told me he was Dutch, and I didn't believe him.
You didn't?
No.
Why not?
I didn't.
Are you
I didn't,
Dutch too?
No.
No.
I'm here.
Why didn't you believe him then?
I didn't believe him.
Why not?
Well, I don't know.
Well, I believe him because.
But he is from there. Well, it's a fact.
Well, the reason I believe him is because I visited the Netherlands this summer, and I didn't know what I was expecting getting off the train there. But I'm from there, and
you're from there too.
My great grandparents came over,
okay,
from the Netherlands on a boat. So I think my mom's 100% Dutch, and my dad's like in the whatever high percentage. 80.
You're about 95% that she's 100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm 95% sure that she's 100%.
Okay. That's good enough for me.
She's very Dutch. They
Dutch.
live in Holland, Michigan now. It's
on
like
purpose?
Oh yeah, we did that on purpose. No. But West Michigan is full of Dutch settled people. And
don't you see it as very ironic though?
Yeah, that I'm Dutch and they live in Holland.
Michigan.
That's right. So I was expecting to see like a bunch of people that like, I don't know what I was expecting. That looked like, I don't know. Like, because Holland is so conservative and quaint that we're like nice church going, like wooden shoes and tulips and stuff. Dude, Amsterdam? I mean, obviously people are gonna be like, yeah. Like they party their asses off. When the first thing we did, we walked. There was like this town square, and like there was this clock tower, all these really old, cool looking buildings, and there was like a bunch of people in orange, like Dutch soccer uniforms. It was like a frat party, and they were hollering and dancing and like spraying each other with beer. And
like
I was
really partying.
Yeah, I was like, dude, this is Dan Danner for sure.
Oh yeah, that's where he's from.
Yeah,
he's of that.
I was like, these are more like Dan Danner than my relatives in Holland. Like, these people aren't, nerd goody-goodies. These are, like, friggin'...
So is there a difference in the Netherlands and Amsterdam?
Probably. There might be.
Is that a different country?
Is. Yeah, the Amsterdam, yeah.
Tell me more about that.
About the other people in the country?
The geography situation.
Well, I know it's below sea level, so they have... they had to become experts at managing like the water, like the seawalls and the water level, and they have like tons of inlets and waterways where they used to transport goods and supplies, like in the olden days.
I was thinking more of like, is Amsterdam a city in the Netherlands? Or,
yes.
Okay. So if I want to go to Amsterdam, I got to go to Netherlands.
Yeah. The country is the Netherlands.
Vicariously.
Amsterdam is I thought you wanted to know about the, geography topography.
You went into it.
Oh,
that was
I
really
did.
Good. Thank you, though.
I was about. You're like, I didn't care to know that.
Goods and services.
The goods and services.
Still running today.
It's like Venice in Italy is known for like having all the waterways and the gondolas and stuff.
The tunnels.
And the tunnels, I guess. Are there tunnels? I don't know if there's tunnels. Is that like Da Vinci?
The underground tunnels.
Yes.
Of Venice.
Of Venice, yeah. So there's actually more waterways in Amsterdam than Venice.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't see them flaunting that around.
No, they should flex more, but I think they're too busy drinking and partying.
I've saw a computer screensaver one time, Microsoft, that had a canal, and it had these little, like, Dutch-esque little huts that had like the moss growing on tops, like for roofs, and it was like the roads were water, and the yards were perfect, and it's beautiful. Yeah. And it was supposed to be like Holland or something, the Netherlands. Is that the same? Where's Holland?
Holland is the Netherlands. This
same?
is the most confusing thing. There's a joke on Seinfeld about this. So
what is the Netherlands?
The Netherlands is the country. Holland is also the country. It's just a different name for it. And then Amsterdam, I believe, I think it's the capital. It's the biggest city there.
But Holland is not a city in Netherlands.
No,
it's just another.
Holland is the country.
It's kind of like Auburn has the War Eagles or the Tigers.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Or why do they have that, by the way?
Or Alabama has the Crimson Tide.
And the elephant.
It's only in Alabama that does that, though.
Yeah. Why do they call it the Crimson Tide? Do you know?
No.
I have no idea either. Was it like there's blood in the water and it was like rolling in? Like
I think
it's like a war thing?
It was had to do something. It's such a, from what I remember, it was such a dumb story that I'm like, well, how could they assign a whole university mascot such a stupid story?
Yeah.
But it was like the Red Sea krill out in the ocean rolling in, and the Crimson Tide of krill, the red in the ocean. And then
elephants are just
on the
beach for some reason.
Yeah, and they eat the krill. I don't know.
Because, Africa.
Because Alabama.
Yeah.
We can make fun of Alabama because actually,
dude, Alabama becomes the perfect state to shit on because they're known for being Southern, but they have a really good football team. So it's like, we could shit on you because you guys are good at football, but we'll shit on you for being racist or something.
I'm going to start shitting on Connecticut.
Okay.
Just intention. I have been there. It did suck.
What sucked about it?
Well, I went in February, and you would pull up to like a 4-way stop, and everywhere you looked was just a wall of snow taller than the vehicle. It was intense.
Yeah, dude.
And you kind of like have to put your vehicle out into the middle of the intersection, like peer around.
Dude, yeah.
And the roads are icy and snowing, so like every trip is like a cliffhanger, you know?
Dude, that's brutal. It's the same in Holland, Michigan. So
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up there.
I mean, it varies depending on how bad the winter is, but it's right on Lake Michigan. And Lake Michigan, have you ever been up to the Midwest? You ever been up to?
No, I've never been up there.
You haven't?
I've been to Cincinnati.
But never all the way up to Wisconsin, Chicago, Michigan
Not up
area.
there.
Yeah, so, dude, it's cool because Lake Michigan, if you've never seen it, it's an ocean. Like, it looks just like the ocean because it's such a big body of water. Yeah.
Have you been to Wisconsin?
Yeah, I used to live in Wisconsin. I used to live in Green Bay.
Really?
So I'm a big Packers fan.
You know, there's a movement on Twitter that's garnering a lot of followers, and they just partnered up with the Birds Aren't Real movement, and it's the Wisconsin Isn't Real movement.
Oh.
And maybe you should start tweeting at them
Green
Bay is real.
Green Bay's real, man.
Hashtag Green Bay's real.
I went to Green Bay Christian Elementary School. I could cite landmarks and people, unless that was all an illusion in my mind. But I was 7 years there. So, and you know, it's funny, I was going to talk about the snow real quick compared to Connecticut. Wisconsin winters, if you look, you see the metal Michigan I got behind you? So
That's beautiful.
So Green Bay's up higher. It's much farther north. Holland is lower on the mitten there, but it's right on the water. But Holland winters are much worse because the snow will accumulate out over the lake. Yeah, it's a mitten, right? Yeah, that's what all Michigan people do.
That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, dude. So snow will accumulate over the lake, and it'll dump snow on the coastal cities there. And I remember, like, in a really bad winter, they'll plow the snow and they'll make these big snowbanks. And when you're leaving your driveway, it was like taller than you. So like same thing, you couldn't even like see if cars were coming. And yeah, you're just totally snowed in. And it's beautiful when the sun comes out and it's fine. But like, yeah, dude, I freaking hate the snow. I mean, in terms of like just day to day, like when you get in your car, oh my God. And you got to start the car and wait for it to heat up. Like if you don't have covered parking, which I didn't as a student a lot of times, like, yeah, dude, scraping that car and waiting the 5 minutes for it to heat up. And if you're late, which I always was running late, I'm just like driving without freaking anything. You hate everything. Like it doesn't get better. You do not get used to it.
Cold.
I hate when people say that too. When people say, "Oh, you're from Michigan, like you must be used to the cold." No, I hate the cold. Freaking sucks. You don't adapt to it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there are things in life that
the South for the weather.
You just don't get used to.
Yeah.
You know.
You're a warm-blooded animal, dude. You're not like a lizard.
Diabetes is one of them. You know, you just don't get used to diabetes. No. It just keeps doing its thing.
Do you have diabetes?
I don't think so. I hope not. It's expensive, and I would not want Jesus. Dude, I've got a buddy who does, and I check on him.
Yeah,
just to make sure he's
taking.
I heard of people that are rationing and jumping the border and going to Mexico to buy insulin. And that doesn't make sense to me. You know, can't they just bring it in?
Yeah.
You know? But yeah.
Can't they just walk out the door and then come back?
So people are going to Mexico to buy insulin. Have you heard that, or is that?
I had not heard that.
When I say I read that on the news or heard that on the news, what I really mean is I saw that on TikTok. That's what I really mean.
Yeah. Does anybody watch the news anymore? I wonder.
TikTok is the news. And Telegram. TikTok. You know what Telegram is?
I do. I have Telegram.
Okay.
It's just a messaging app, though, that's not encrypted. Or that is encrypted. Right?
They send, in some Telegram groups, they send out video links and different news of what's going on.
That's not like filtered through the algorithm?
Right.
Okay.
So
gotta find the truth.
Like Ukrainian Telegram and Russian Telegram groups, they're huge ones, and they get into it back and forth on Telegram, and they're even warring on that platform.
Ukraine and Russia?
On the Telegram, they're groups.
Damn.
And they send videos. And
are you in any of these groups?
No, I can't read Russian.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was going to say.
It's hard because it's all in Russian.
Yeah, yeah.
And but you can see the videos though, and a lot of them, the good ones, will filter through and make it to TikTok.
Okay.
And then you can see them there, because TikTok lets it through.
What's the best one you've seen of like underground?
Oh my gosh!
News information.
It
was a flavor of this.
See, now this is where it got a little suspicious because I know what an AC-130 looks like from Call of Duty.
What is an AC-130? A gun?
Yeah, it's like the airplane gun. An AC-130 is an airplane, but it's got different ammunitions on it, like big millimeter guns, and then it fires rockets at the same time. Okay, and you can take out a convoy in seconds from height where they don't even hear the airplane. So you're thousands of feet in the air.
Oh my gosh.
And so you pull the trigger and there's a little delay. But think about how fast a rocket goes.
Yeah.
Propelled like an angry death rocket.
Yeah.
It's propelled.
Yeah, yeah.
And he just got shot out of a torpedo bay.
Yeah.
So it's hurling its way. So eventually you do hear it and you're like, what's that? And you look around and you see all your buddies, and you're in a convoy of these Class 6 armored vehicles that are BA, and everybody's got AKs, and y'all are all to the nines and everything, and then boom, you're all blown up from an AC-130. That was one of the coolest videos I seen thus far on TikTok.
You saw that happen?
Yeah.
You saw the convoy get blown up?
I'm pretty sure it was not a video game footage.
Wow.
But I think it was real.
That's insane. That war's still going on, huh?
Yes.
I cannot believe how long it's been.
Everybody's taking their support Ukraine stuff down.
Yeah.
I don't want to be controversial or political, but
it's messy. I didn't really like how they were pushing support Ukraine so hard, as like if it was just one-sided. Not that I support Russia, but that the more I looked into the conflict, the more I was like, dude, I don't understand this. I just don't understand it. So to take a
that's war today.
stance,
yeah,
it was like weird that they were pushing it so much. Like, oh, if you don't support Ukraine, you're something.
Then you love Putin.
Then you love Putin. Can you? Yeah. Can you feel for the civilians in the battle? And then
all at the same time, I follow Putin on TikTok.
Putin has a TikTok?
Think about that.
Vladimir Putin has a TikTok?
Has a TikTok and a Twitter.
Dude, I'm going to get on TikTok. I mean, I am
probably
on
got a
TikTok,
Telegram group, too.
Putin has his own Telegram group?
Probably.
Dude, this podcast is going to get flagged, bro.
We're done.
I'm going to follow Vladimir Putin on TikTok.
Oh, God.
It's a Chinese
Yes.
app. We're like, like, tell me more about this underground footage that is being censored by YouTube and all the platforms we're putting this on.
Sabotaging the... Yeah.
It's a knock at the door.
Anything we should not talk about?
It is like the KGB. The American KGB.
So, yeah, that's that.
Well, do you feel like... What has been your assessment of the last 2.5 years since COVID? Do you have any like observations of like, because just how crazy the last 2.5 years have been? They have been insane to me, and I think about it sometimes, and I'm just like, I mean, I feel like a different person now in some ways. I feel like it's affected me, and I feel like it's affected a lot of people I know, affected family. Like, what are your takeaways since COVID?
Yeah, I can look at it individually for me, and then I can talk about what I've seen.
Yeah, sure.
I know with people, we operate kind of on a trauma scale. There is a scale, like a 1 through 10 scale, and a questionnaire that they do, and it determines your trauma level, and it's called the ACE score. And the questions on it are stuff, it's yes or no questions. And eventually, sometimes in counseling, someone will be asked we'll have this test done to them, a questionnaire, and it's questions like, has either one of your parents or caretakers gone to prison?
Okay.
Have you ever not known where your next meal is going to come from? And the more times you have a yes, the more points you have.
Okay.
And once you get over a 5, like you get to 7, you get to 8, you get to 9, you get to a 10. When you have a person in front of you that is a 10, think about this now. This is a person that's grown up in poverty, with probably has been abused in multiple facets. They have not known where their next meal. They're a traumatized individual, but they've drugged their asses in here today, and they prop themselves up on this couch to talk to us. Let's just pretend.
Yeah.
But they're a 10 on this trauma score, this ACE test. They call it ACE.
Yeah.
And so what I think about, my takeaway from it is what if this test is applicable? Because a nation is like a person a little bit, as it reflects. And what if this test was applicable to a nation? And I think it is. And I think that as a body, we can take damage or be traumatized or have a 1. And I also think as a body, as a country, things have been relatively peaceful. Like, look at Syria. We were talking about wars a minute. Syria, 30 years. It's just been, I don't know how long. It's a long time.
Yeah.
We've had a very long stint of peace. So as a country, maybe our ACE score was around a 4. What maybe? People, most strangers you happened upon on the street, maybe didn't have that look of fear in their eyes like they do now.
Yeah.
But I think now, I think that now as a nation, we're probably sitting like a 6 or a 7 on this scale, this ACE indicator. And that's a hot take. Mm-hmm. I know. But that's what I see. And you can't really, I know at one point, I'll say this is the good thing. At one point, we were all so busy looking for somewhere to be angry and being encouraged to. Mm-hmm. And that has stopped. And I am so glad.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a people, we're being left alone a little bit to recover. Mm-hmm. For me, that's what I feel like and what I see. And I definitely feel forever changed. For me, that was like a before and after moment in my life. I just divorced. Mm-hmm. So I'd gotten, my divorce was finalized a year prior. Mm-hmm. So I have a year where being a dad, figuring that out.
Yeah.
And then that happened. And at the time, I was in the commercial insurance industry. Mm-hmm. And our team was very small. So when I was driving to and from work, it was great. There's nobody that was there. It was like remember the essential employee thing was, okay, we're really getting flagged now. Jesus.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and throw them all in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been so interesting to watch as a comedian. I think you feel this too. Don't social dynamics spark your curiosity?
Yes, absolutely.
How people think about this. So me and you are sitting at a restaurant, and we're sitting at a corner booth, and this fella walks in a nice suit, and on this arm he's got 5 people, and on this arm he's got 5 people, and everybody's smiling and laughing, and it looks great. Mm-hmm. And you can tell like that person in the middle is kind of in charge, and everybody sees like, what are you going to think? Like everybody's going to in the room is going to look at that and think, what are they doing? Mm-hmm. What do they have going on?
Yeah.
What's that person doing?
Yeah.
And you feel positivity towards them, and value and comfort is immediately established.
Yeah.
And the why is that makes me just like that gives me energy.
Yeah.
Why,
Yeah. So
you know what I'm saying?
I do. I know exactly what you're saying. I feel like there are like explanations I've like explored when it comes to like social dynamics. Like when you're at a bar and you see somebody, like you said, somebody who walks in and they look like they're confident, they're at peace, their body language is like relaxed, they're having fun, they're laughing, there's positive energy, like, and then you see a completely different dynamic with somebody who's maybe a little nervous, unsure of themselves. They'll usually like hold their drink like this. They'll kind of cover up, or they'll shy away.
They have a gun.
Or they have a gun. Yeah. the different social dynamic. Absolutely. I'm curious about that. And I wonder, like I want to be that centered, confident person who like can attract positive energy. And
I feel like you are.
And give it and receive it. Yeah.
I feel like you are that.
Yeah.
When you walk into the art bar, I'm like, oh, cool, David's here.
Yeah.
And I can speak for a lot of other of us doofuses in Columbia. Like, you're a liked person there.
Oh, I am?
Yeah, you're appreciated and liked. Yeah.
That's good.
You are. Yeah. I'm
no,
being
that's
for
good.
real.
I feel like,
Did you not know that? Did you feel otherwise?
No, I feel liked by the people I talk
that's
to.
Good.
But I also don't like to assume anything, and I always feel like you're kind of a guest in that scene. So that's kind of why I felt bad about the first few times I went and bombed horribly and had to learn kind of like just, being a new comic, you make mistakes, but that's great. And dude, I feel the same way when I see you, because it's like when I saw you today, like I was 15 minutes. I had to do some more work before you could come up, and it was a little early. And you were like, "Dude, no worries. Take your time.
It's a beautiful town to walk around in and see.
But you just had a peace and a calmness about you. It's kind of like the difference between the skittish dog and
I'm just a dog.
I'm just a dog.
I just wandered around.
I get compared to a golden retriever a lot. I get compared to dogs.
That's good.
Yeah, it's a good. But the temperament thing. But yeah, I mean, back to the COVID thing, I feel like that's a really good way to put it, that a nation, if you looked at it like a person, and I think in ways you definitely can, there was universal uncertainty that just was thrown at everyone, and I think that did raise our trauma score. And then the question is, how do you cope with that new trauma score?
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? You kind of have two choices. You fear, or you could kind of go and maybe take a different path. And I really like the people that did that kind of took a different path.
David, the question's always been the same before, and it is after, but after it's a little bit more serious. The question is, what do you want to do? Really?
What do I want to do?
As a people, nation? Yeah, we were asked, what do you want to do? Because it kind of took it away.
We're going to take the rug out from under you. What do you want to do?
What do you want to do now?
That's an interesting...
The question was the
same before. So why do you think
before,
that was the question that was prompted?
It's always the question.
What do you want to do?
You get asked that in high school.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? You have to write it on a piece of paper. And top three.
I never knew. Did you know?
I made a joke out of it. I put Mafia Hitman on yeah. So I never knew.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I did know until I was doing insurance. And I'm like, all right, I'm an insurance agent.
Yeah. I want to do this.
Superb.
So you told yourself you want
I
to do
bought
this?
into it for a while, and I did well. I liked it.
Yeah.
I really did. I convinced myself.
Yeah.
But in the middle of COVID, I had because I liked stand-up comedy, and I liked comedians.
Yeah.
So I had why not me moment.
Yeah.
And now, why not me? Not in that capacity, but why can't I try it? Why can't I go out to the tennis court too and try to play if I want to play? There's a court for you if you want to play.
Yeah.
And I when that clicked for me, I was like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
I don't have to be fully prepared with an hour of Netflix special to be able to do stand-up comedy.
To be able to participate in what it is, yeah.
But in Columbia, there's a scene set up, and there are gatekeepers. Not gatekeepers, that's a bad word. There are people that have the stage set up for you. Mm-hmm. And they do a darn good job of running it, I think.
I agree. Yeah, totally.
And I've watched I came through and was treated a certain way, and I've watched everybody else come through and be treated the same way, equally and fairly.
Yeah.
Everybody gets their chance up there, and I appreciate that. That's been established.
Yeah.
I think that's here. You all have that at the Comedy Zone. Same thing.
Yeah. But it's interesting that prompted the question. So you and I didn't remember this. So you started during COVID as well.
Yes.
Stand up. So we have the similar. We kind of. I mean, normally I just ask that straight up, but we backed into it. So you started during COVID. So I think I have a very similar experience in terms of the epiphany that I think only could have happened through COVID. And I've told this story a lot, so I won't go into too much depth with it, but I had a really hard time in the spring of 2020, and I don't think if it were not for those traumatic things, COVID being one, but also I had a back surgery and really uncertain about my future and just very at a loss for talking myself into a sales job, kind of like you had done. And it's dude, I'm over 30 now. I have made some money from this job, and for what, dude? I don't even like any of this. It's what do I want to do? The question, what do you want to do?
What do you want to do?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. But COVID kind of gave that pause to where like you could actually answer. You had enough time for things to kind of stop, and it wasn't until our company's marketing team asked me to make a video, and I told that before too, that they asked me to be creative, and somebody told me like, hey, could you make something? If somebody hadn't asked me, I don't think I ever would have been brave enough to make something. And then I made something.
What they asked you to make?
Oh, just everybody's bored working from home. Could you make a funny video about like working from home? And like
for your work?
Yeah.
That's cool.
We have no sales coming in right now. Hospitals are shut down. We're not making any money. And but reps are, just make some jokes about whatever. They like I did, I was always obsessed with Instagram and being on social media. I did some creative stuff in the past, like a little bit. But somebody knew, like, oh yeah, David would probably make something, and I was so happy. The person who asked me to do that, like, changed my whole life probably because, like, it
Is that kind of what started it a little? That's cool.
I like video editing, and if I could edit it and curate it so it looked just right, I felt like okay, I could maybe put that out. And then comedy. There was somebody here in Greenville who had done comedy. She doesn't really do stand-up anymore, but I met her at a bar randomly. And she introduced herself as a comedian, and I was like, "What? Like, I didn't know that even existed." I was like, "You're a comedian? That's so cool! You do comedy? You go on stage and do that?" I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I was never brave enough to admit to myself that I wanted to try it. So, but yeah, dude, I think that's for people that had a moment like that. It's pretty cool. I think a lot of people kind of had something, whether it's a business they wanted to start or just something.
When it happened, before that, I was with a group and we were going into like treatment homes where people would go and live for 30 days. Like we were going into rehabs, and we were doing trauma groups. So we would get a group of 30, 40 guys in there, and I would get in front of them and talk for an hour and a half. And you're supposed to be, and you didn't want to like. You didn't look at it like you're teaching a class. It was facilitating a group. Okay. But you introduce a topic. You want the guys. Because I was in the guys' campus. I had guys only. Yeah. And you want the guys talking. It would be really cool sometimes because USC, the local college, would bring their classes in there, and they would sit and in these groups and observe, because they're trying to figure out, okay, how do we help with these problems that are really relevant in society? Because there's it was probably a year-long waiting list to get into that place. Okay. So
wait, what was this place?
It was called Morris Village. Shout out Morris Village.
Morris Village
in Columbia, and so I was going there.
What type of people are at this place?
Alcoholics. Yeah, alcoholics.
So you're facilitating conversations with alcoholics.
And we were talking about stuff like relationships and how you can be in a relationship and make bad decisions, and it can cause you to be angry, and then you go and make worse decisions, like being in control of your emotions, like not giving someone else that power. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to give you the power to ruin my day. Right. Even if we are this close. Yeah. We talked about relationships. We talked about, one thing that I thought was strange was the very first one was if you had a sister, and keep in mind I'm talking to men. If you had a sister, did your father discipline your sister different than you? Yeah. And that never resonated with me until now. I have a little girl and a little boy. Yeah. And it's very difficult not to show favoritism towards the little one because she's a girl. So I automatically am looking at the boy like, what did you do? Yeah. And as soon as the little one figures out that this is now a game that she can win, if she manipulates it, it's over.
So what does that lead to?
problems.
Does that lead
trauma? Apparently,
does that lead to the girl being like a different way as an adult? Like, does she learn to be manipulative?
I don't know about that, but I know with men, there could be a wound there that is carried into
if they're less favored than the little one
or something. And that was one. There were 8 segments. That was one I usually skipped.
Okay.
But it was the very first one.
Yeah.
One of them was relationships. Another one was like it dealt with different forms of abuse and things like that. But the things I learned so much from the guys that came through, and some of them I would see 2, 3, 4 times as they were there. And some of the things that they said, I'll never forget, and I'll never, this one guy, it's a very common thing that he said, so it's not, but he said that he didn't want to stop smoking weed. He didn't think anything was wrong with it. I said, okay. And then he went on to cite his number one reason. His grandmother has cancer, and he likes to smoke with his grandma.
Okay.
I said, okay. Well, marijuana isn't causing your grandma problems, but it's causing you problems,
Right.
apparently.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. It's not about something being good or bad. That's what I like about Buddhism and Christianity, and some of the different religions do get this right. Things, a football, like if the Gamecocks don't win, that is not bad. I'm not going to change the way I feel for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Like things cannot be rooted to our emotions.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that. You're dropping some knowledge.
Preaching right now.
No.
But so after,
well, those religions talk about detachment from material things
and anger
and
consequences
jealousy.
and what's going on and in your relationships. Like if somebody's choosing to go and do, a lot of people are all bent out of shape about what other people in their life are choosing to go do.
Yeah.
They're real hung up on that. And acceptance
about what other people are doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh, such and such is da-da-da, you're never going to believe it. Well,
it's so weird. Getting back to the social interaction too, I find in a social environment, if there's somebody talking in that way, I am very, like, I can't even, I mean, I like my brain, like, doesn't, I don't like it. I'm, like, repelled by it, kind of. Not in a way that I'm, like, I'm mad at that person or like what, because then you feed into it. But like, I just don't like that that negativity, and I can almost you can almost feel it. It's like
palpable almost.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of science, pseudoscience, also around like vibrations and how people can feel and sense and emit different vibrations.
Yeah.
And they're
I wonder how much of that is pseudoscience.
And I think we call that mood. I think in universal terms, the universe doesn't have a word called mood because it's not based on emotions.
Right.
The universe is just based on math
and
vibrations and frequencies. That's what we emit, I think.
Yeah.
So I think what you're feeling is a very real thing.
You feel it too, right? I'm not
crazy. And you have to then you have to ask yourself another question. Well, do I believe the next part of what everybody says? What their vibration can impact mine or mine can impact theirs. But either way, it's being impacted. Here we go. If you believe that, then you have to ask yourself another question. Well, do I want to partner with this person in raising their vibration? Well, that usually is an overwhelming no. Because you don't have a partner in that, because the other person is just fine the way they are. Thank you. That's how somebody comes in and they're like, hey, you're a lot prettier when you smile.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, my vibration, my mood's just fine the way it is, you know?
Yeah.
I was thinking about those smile, you're on camera signs that are everywhere.
Yeah.
It sounds so much like you look a lot prettier when you smile.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, dude. It's weird because, like, if I had been talking like this a few years ago, I probably would have thought, wow, it's crazy hippie logic, or like, what is that? It doesn't seem real to me. But now it definitely does seem very, very real. Like, you can, just because you can sense it. And I don't know if, maybe it's just because being on stage so much, like, you can kind of feel the mood of the room.
Yeah, I think people do when they're up on stage and comedians come off the stage and you're talking to them, they'll say, oh, the crowd is this, or the crowd is that, or the crowd's like tight tonight, or they're not laughing a lot. Mm-hmm. They'll quote an emotion or a mood, and that tells me that they're feeling something when they're up there.
Yeah.
And I do.
You do, right?
I feel something when I'm up there.
Yeah. I don't want to just admit to it.
But I don't know, man. I've got to a point where I'm just happy.
Yeah.
And I've accepted the way things are.
You have gotten to that point. Because when I watch you on stage now,
it's possible.
It's very, you don't seem nervous. You seem yourself. And even if you're, reciting a bit, like,
I'm just trying to remember it.
You're just trying to remember it. And it comes across natural, not forced. And I feel like that helps. I feel like that's part of the, I don't know, getting better, whatever getting better is in comedy. It's a weird concept because, like, all anybody says is just do it a lot. But to me, it's kind of like, what did you say? Like, you're just at peace with it, kind of?
Yeah, I was also...
You said just you're happy.
Just happy,
if you're happy, you have a good shot at being decent at stand-up, if you're happy.
And think about it. Not only do you need to be happy, think about an audience. You're in the audience, and a 16-year-old comes out. Now, I love high schoolers, but you're immediately thinking, all right, this fucker better be funny.
Yeah.
Like, don't they have less time with you?
Yeah.
Because,
like, what does this punk know?
As opposed to, some old man or old lady wheels out there. I'm going to lean in, like, what are they here to say?
Yeah.
Age. I think we can't help but assign a value to age still as creatures of that have things ingrained into our DNA.
Yeah.
From existence. I think that goes back to the social dynamics and why things are the way they are. Why are things the way they are? Because we used to live in caves at one time.
Yeah.
And if somebody walked in the cave and they were smiling, that means they probably killed something. Yeah. And there was going to be dinner.
Right.
That's what the hell that means.
Right.
It's like all roots back to that.
For sure. And
I don't want to...
Like the sexual kind of dynamic of, like...
That too. I'm not going to...
Proper mate, like if you have, a guy with, a beautiful girl on his arm, you're like, wow, well, he must have something that, like, drew her to him as being fit for a mate, whatever that is. Survival.
Ensuring survival is usually.
He probably makes her feel safe.
Resources and allies.
Resources.
He's got a home. He's got lots of friends that are well placed that can protect. If something pops off.
Yeah.
I know these friends will come.
We're not above our lizard brain like that, I don't think, at all. I think women and men
it is in us.
Operate like that fundamentally. And it's so cool to kind of like try and like analyze it. I like to do that. So I'm probably wrong a lot, but
when you accept I am that. I can't help it. Then you can look at others with compassion and understand that they are too, and it just helps with everything. So that's why when I'm on stage, man,
I am that, like, meaning I am part of that animal. Like I am participating in that.
I am not
game.
Perfect.
Yeah,
because I am the creation I didn't control by a force I didn't understand. By something I haven't seen. I'm trying to understand it more as I live.
Yeah.
But all I know is it's of a greater power than I am.
Yeah.
And I'm here with you and these other fuckers.
Yeah.
And we are a subculture that's been sawed off of comedians, and we're trying to do it together. Yeah. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think
it's the coolest subculture I've ever been a part of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously.
I agree. Do you have any insecurity about the subculture?
About being a comedian? Like, about like performing or
Well, no,
called the label?
Well, first of all, I love what you just said, by the way, that posture of humility about what we're partaking in, and just in life, I guess. I love how deep we're getting. This is great. This is great. But insecurity about the subculture. I'll tell you a story really quick to kind of illustrate, but there was this girl I'd been talking to, and she started to get a little bit jealous or resentful about all the time I've spent at mics with friends.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, and it's hard, and it's a fair criticism because, dude, we live at mics, man.
I hear that a lot from other comedians that date. It's a deal breaking issue with them too.
It can, yeah, because you want to be at every mic, you want to participate in it, and it's hard not to be around these people who are you're so close friends with. And she said something to the effect of, she was drunk, and she said something to the effect of, "Your friends are weird, and these are what my friends are saying about your friends." And she's like, "I'm not saying it about you."
What were they saying?
I don't know. Something judgmental, implying that the group of people that I hang out with or whatever is like somehow less than. And it messed with me. That ended that because it was so hurtful. And I really looked at it though, because I'll look, like, if you say something like that, I'll be like, is she right? Because I don't know. Like, I'll look at it. And it only took me, a day or so of being back with my good friends to be like, no, she's nuts in that observation. And it was probably out of insecurity. Like, I don't know why, but, and it kind of hurt, it's hurtful towards those people. I felt like that was but it did stoke some of those insecurities. Like, I do spend a ton of time doing it. And I don't question a lot because of how meaningful it feels to me. But being judged by outside people, I shouldn't probably worry about that.
Well,
but I do.
She attacked.
Yeah.
She attacked what was important to you.
Exactly.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I cut you off.
No, dude, are you a therapist, bro?
No.
Are you certified? You are.
I mean, once you start attacking, then where does it stop? It's a slippery slope. So you get rid of that.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
Yeah.
Where does the attacking stop?
Yeah. Exactly. And,
Once you start attacking.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of have to set a boundary. Like, no, that's not okay. That's messed up. What you just said.
Have you had another relationship since?
This is recent. This was within the last couple of weeks. So.
Damn.
Yeah.
So is it off?
Oh,
it's off.
It's off. I don't know if that was ever really gonna head somewhere permanent.
When she said your friends
sorting out dating, honestly.
Yeah. Okay.
But
when she said your friends were weird, did you immediately think of Bill Reiner? So you shouldn't don't attack Bill like that.
How dare you? Bill's autistic. That's an asshole.
It's registered.
He's on the spectrum. No, I love Bill. We love Bill.
We do.
But dude, they're weird in the best possible way though. Mm-hmm. And I love all of my friends in comedy, and but I was kind of mad at myself for even giving it credence. But it's different. It's hard because there's two different worlds, and I don't know if you feel this way, because once you have the subculture of comedy and it's an open mic subculture, and it may never go anywhere. It could never go to where it's legitimate in the eyes of a mainstream, your family or friends that would maybe also be the ones that judge. So do you ever feel insecurity in that aspect?
That is a horrifying reality But here's the thing. So let's say that nothing ever does become of it, and neither one of us become famous as stand-up comedians. Let's just toss that out there and lob it up.
We can even, yeah.
Let's play with it for a minute.
Absolutely.
So because I know, at one point I was like, why am I talking to guys about trauma? Yeah. I had no idea why I was doing that.
Yeah.
But it led to comedy.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's next, but mm-hmm. I do know, I'm why am I here? Mm-hmm. I do know that. Mm-hmm. So even if it doesn't work out, then it could lead to something.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. I to me, it's always been meaningful enough in and of itself that if it never got anywhere, I would be okay with it.
And you're happy. I'm happy.
Totally.
Are you happy?
Completely.
With it?
Yeah.
Do you
absolutely.
feel like you found something?
Yeah. 100%.
Me too.
And part of that like whole delusion about, because some people, might really want to be famous and do something. But like that was so cringy to me, that idea. Like, how do you get started? And that's the name of the podcast, and you asked about it.
What is the name? Please,
I did this instead of killing myself.
Yes.
So embedded in that name, it's a Louis C.K. joke tag. So it's kind of ripped off from that. I saw his special Sincerely in 2020, and there's a tag to a joke he does where he's describing something. And but embedded in the name was like the overwhelming insecurity I had of like, dude, starting a podcast, that's so like, what do you have to say? Cringy.
Yes.
Like, putting yourself out there, like you see, how that can be judged or taken a certain way. But I was so like in a low place and like so had nothing better to do, and also really wanted kind of deep down to just have something I could make on a regular basis along with the comedy. It's like, well, despite all of the negative reasons and despite all of the anxiety, I did this instead of killing myself. Like, I had nothing better to do. And, and then like just the obvious, like, yeah, you should have killed yourself, bro. Like, but I mean, tongue in cheek, like, like, I guess it's so bad that like, but hey, I didn't have anything better to do, and I was at that much of a loss, and that's why I did it. So to me, that was kind of in the name too. Like, and also we did the Hangman because
I like the Hangman logo.
Yeah, when we thought of it, we were bored. I was with a girl that we were just friends. We matched on Tinder, but we just became friends. Her name's Lana, and we were literally doodling, bored out of our minds during the pandemic, and we're like doing a Hangman stuff. And I was like, if we made a podcast, what would we call it? I did this instead of killing it. And then wrote it down.
What purpose? There's always a purpose.
Well, the purpose was, and the silver lining, the positive is, like, to me, creative stuff makes life a lot more worth living. If you're doing creative, fun things just for its own sake, it makes life very livable.
Is comedy an art or a sport?
Art, but there's sport aspects. What do you think?
Art.
I think it's art, but I like comparing it to sports because there's a discipline to it that requires repetition, practice, analysis.
I think painting is like that too.
For sure.
That, and I don't think about that. It takes. And I think that's one thing that's hard for us to conceptualize as time that has to go into something to master it or to even be good enough to say, okay, I'm willing to charge for this.
Yeah.
Get to there.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time to get there. That's one of the questions that bugs me as you're talking about what makes you insecure about this when money comes up. When people ask me, like, oh, are you getting paid for that?
Yeah.
Like, first of all, I'm like, well, are you thinking about doing it? Like, why are you asking me that and being nosy? But then I think about, well, not all things pay out immediately.
Yeah.
And some things don't. But I do know that some of the memories and experiences that I've had are irreplaceable.
For sure, dude. For sure. Yeah.
That sounded stupid.
No, it didn't. No, I hope I didn't just go long-winded on the fucking.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, dude. You're a good listener.
I feel like I was talking a lot.
No, I
should have listened more.
Listen
more.
But dude,
you're a good listener too.
Thanks, man. That's the other thing I like about the podcast is it's uninterrupted. And there's no phones and stuff. So, like, there's not a lot of time where you just have uninterrupted conversation. It's a little weird recording it and putting it on video and putting it out there. But
well, it's what it takes to get it on the record.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a podcast is, starting to get things on the record.
Yeah, for sure. And, if anybody takes something from it, that's good too. So, this is kind of a serious thing. but I'm before we go, because we gotta go. I wanted to give you a chance to talk about Woody.
Oh yeah.
Do you feel comfortable or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll talk about him. Yeah, I feel comfortable.
You feel, because he was such a great guy. He was a comic that passed away recently, and you were close with him.
Yeah.
And he was a friend of mine. Just like, we talked about Art Bar and coming down there, and how, at first when you're new there, you don't really feel accepted by people. Woody was a guy who I don't think he liked me right away, because I think he thought I was conservative, and he's very liberal. And he didn't like my political leanings, which they're not strong. But anyway, but over time, like, I saw him open up and just be like just a super cool guy. And I don't know. I just wanted to hear your...
Yeah, so I met Woody the very first night I ever did comedy was at New Brooklyn Tavern. And Woody was there, and he did too. I don't know if that was his first night. It wasn't. It was in February. He had started the prior November.
Okay.
He had just got to Lexington, where he was living at the time. And so I met him the first night I ever did stand-up, and I said something on stage, and then afterwards we were all standing in the back. And he approached me and he asked me, he's like, well, why did you say that? And I answered him honestly, and he was like, oh, okay. And that was that. And then I said, well, I've got this person here that's very different from me and is very different, period. Mm-hmm. And we were kind of at the same developmental stage also in comedy, mm-hmm. which I think helped. We encouraged each other. He encouraged me a lot. Yeah. I can't say I hope I encouraged him. Mm-hmm. He encouraged me a lot. He was there a lot too. He was always there. Yeah. You talk about the Art Bar, like that's one of my favorite memories. Will always be walking in and he's sitting right there at that table in front of the stage, eating a chicken sandwich. Yeah. He would always do that, and he was always there. Yeah, and that was one of the. I hope to one day be able to have another friend like Woody. Mm-hmm. He was just so, you talking about just different. Yeah, and I could kind of feel a little bit that maybe at some point there was something that maybe it hurt him too. Mm-hmm. But he never let on or talked about it, and I never found out until I did, and then I put it all together. And it's when he was young, mm-hmm. he had a hard time, was bullied a lot, and I'm like, oh well, that makes sense, because when you and I were coming up, mm-hmm. it was during a time, mm-hmm. Like we played tackle football on the playground, mm-hmm. and it was just brutal. Mm-hmm. And kids picked on one another for nothing. Yeah, like I got picked on because of my last name, and it's like anything gets picked
Dowdy.
On.
Dowdy.
Yeah,
Dowdy.
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of liken it to hens. If there's something wrong with one of the chickens, mm-hmm. and the other chickens find out, they'll go peck the shit out of it and kill it. Yeah. Did you know chickens do that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, kids are like that. Yeah. They just find something that's different or wrong with another one, and will just that. And there's so
it's sad Woody got picked on.
Yeah, that I think that's what I've made out of all that I put together. But yeah, man, he was a really cool guy. I miss him.
Yeah, he was loved in the Columbia scene, and I always liked watching him perform. He had that high pitched squeaky voice, and he'd have his notes and go off about it felt like also like every week it'd be a new set. It'd be like observations about the news.
He wrote new stuff. I admired that about him. He was developing. Mm-hmm. I know we're working on some stuff to help remember Woody, but he suffered from bipolar disorder, and that's known. His family said that, and we've talked about that in Columbia a little bit. and we're trying to figure out, well, how can we help with this? Because I've known only a few people who were diagnosed with that, and Woody and this other, they're not here anymore. So it seems like a really serious thing.
Yeah.
And I think if there was a pathway for people who were like Woody to find a resource to where they could talk to someone and be prescribed the medication they needed, and those two things would be combined, that there would be a lot more okay people.
Yeah.
Those two things are not combined anywhere.
Right.
And they often will compete, and it interferes, and it confuses, and it commingles, and it pollutes the situation sometimes to where it should be working together and with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So like one angle is anti-prescription medication and just talking, and the other is against the.
Right now, excuse me. Right now, there are medications out for bipolar disorder that do help. They have side effects though that are serious, and a lot of times, the side effects are just too much to deal with, and I don't know what that's like. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
But I know if there were more options as far as that, maybe better options, that would be one thing that would help. If there were more people that were equipped and trained to counsel, and then have that in place as a detective measure. Let's have a maintenance detection work set up in place to where we're checking in with this. Not only that, it takes a lot to check in with somebody. That's not something you just come in, I'm going to start checking in with you tomorrow. Yeah. It takes a year or two to build up a relationship with someone until you'll get to do that.
Yeah, like to be able to ask somebody, how are you doing, dude?
So you tell me
how
where
are
you
really doing?
Where you're going to get that service at. Even in a counseling environment, after 6, 7, 8 months, they want to see you leave better.
Yeah.
Well, this person's not leaving better.
Right.
They're going to be like this for forever. And I don't know of a... Boy, what are we talking about? We're going to get flagged. I don't know of a place where you can... I hope they exist. I'm sure I'm wrong on this, but we couldn't find... When Woody was here, we couldn't find one. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to have those conversations, like, even amongst friends. Like, my college football buddies, prior to comedy, best friends I've ever had. And even amongst them, like, if there was actually something going on in their lives, it's uncomfortable to, talk about something.
Well, we were raised to do otherwise. My father was raised by someone, and I was raised by, you don't talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. And
then, so for all this to come full circle, the last thing that I want to do is go start like, hey, y'all were wrong. Because I don't know if they were or not. I don't know. It's not, and I don't need to go that way anyways. I need to be trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah. I think it's like the boundaries thing. Like, there's something, like, you don't, not everything has to be an in-depth, like, soul-searching discussion amongst a friend. But, like, when there's things going on, and you could say something or you could not.
Yeah, we got a show to get to.
We do. But, dude, I appreciate you sharing that,
fun.
man. I know. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to shout out social media? I'll link everything comedy-wise. Shows to shout out? Yeah,
David from Red Bank on TikTok, and David Dowdy Comedy on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, too. And Crypto Mouse on Twitter.
Hell yeah.
MAUS. Crypto Mouse on Twitter.
Yeah.
Come find me.
Yeah, dude. Check David out. Awesome. You're an awesome dude.
Thank you, too, man. Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, we got to run to this mic. We got like 5 minutes before it starts.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Dang.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Peace.
See you next time.